Hey guys, what's up? Blackcleave here, bringing you another Friday Night Deck Tech. And for this one, I'm playing a Jund Zombie Pod list that I haven't been able to come up with a cool nickname for yet. So if you guys have one, leave it in the comments below and I'll probably use it. So, starting off with the mana base, we got 9 swamps. This is like basically mono black with green and red splash in it. Got 4 Woodland Cemeteries. Probably one more than necessary, really, but sometimes you actually just need to, sometimes you don't draw a Cavern of Souls all the time to name Beast for the Thragtusk and stuff. But, there's probably more red sources in here than really necessary, but last week I played it, I had a lot of trouble being able to, like, cast a Bonfire. So I added in 2 more red sources to it. Which doesn't hurt too much. I also wanted to up the land count to 24 from 23. So what I did was I cut 1 swamp and added in 2 more Dragonskull Summits. So then we also have 4 Cavern of Souls, which you basically need to beat any like deck that runs a lot of counters. Plus they also help fix your mana if you've got if you draw like a Thragtusk, you can name Beast on it, and then you can cast that, or if you have a Falkenrath Aristocrat and don't have a red source, you can just name Vampire on it and stuff. But yeah, pretty basic. There's unfortunately no really super cool land on there, but I mean it's a good, it's a pretty decent mana base. It's pretty solid. I just wanted to, you should probably just play 24 lands instead of 23 actually. I had a lot of troubles just like not having enough mana, and I got to apologize for the noise getting my tree cut down because it was struck by lightning. You can check my channel and my news channel update for information on that. So yeah, that's the mana base, and next we're going to move on to the spells. Alright, so what I've got here is I've got a pair of Tragic Slips for some decent removal. The Dismember is a bit of a hedge against Infect, overplaying another Tragic Slip, because Infect's pretty popular in my meta. So, Mortarpod, excellent, works well with the Geralf's Messengers, works well with a couple Blood Artists and stuff. Birthing Pods, this is the main engine of the deck, basically. Like, it's, pardon me for that. It's not got quite the extensive chain that like the Niapod lists do, but it's got a more powerful one, I think. Because instead of like potting into like a couple 3/3s, you just pot into like dealing them a lot of damage. Sign in Blood, because this deck really lacks some draw spells, and now it's got them back with Magic 2013. So got myself some Sign in Bloods. I'm running 2 Bonfires. Like, the deck can pretty easily win through like a clogged board state, but it's a lot easier to just like Bonfire someone and then just wreck them. Yeah, I mean, the Birthing Pods in this list are excellent. Like, you probably want to side them out against Delver though, because they're just too slow. And next we'll move on to the creatures. Okay, so our main creature suite here is 4 Diregraf Ghouls, 4 Geralf's Messengers, and 4 Gravecrawlers. Pretty standard for zombies. I mean, you can't really build a zombie deck without like these core components. Diregraf Ghouls get sided out a lot against in the mirror, because you don't really want to just like, you don't want to be on like that level with them. You just want to go above. Same thing with Thragtusks. Like, they're one of the main cards for the mirror because it allows you to just go above your opponent. Blood Artist, clearly the worst creature in the deck by far. It's not even close. I mean, Disciple of Bolas is kind of close, but Blood Artist, it's not good against Delver. It's like, it's not really that excellent in the mirror either. But if you're in a situation where you have to nickel and dime your opponent out of the game, Blood Artist is the way to do it. 2 Falkenrath Aristocrats, they're pretty nice. They're excellent to pod after you use a Geralf's Messenger, make them lose 2, then attack them for another 4. And it's not there's only that for a human to sacrifice for the +1/+1 counter, but that's fine. Usually just want to sacrifice like a Gravecrawler to make it indestructible or something like that. It's a flying cat and tickles too. I mean, it's just insane. One Fume Spitter. Might want to cut a blood artist for a second one, like depending on your meta. I might be doing that depending on how many people are playing, in fact, this week. So for our specific pod targets, we have 2 Thragtusks in the 5 slot, but in the 4 slots got 4 targets in it. The Aristocrats, Disciple of Bolas, which it's an interesting choice. Like, I kind of like it in the mirror when you have a Geralf's Messenger out with a counter on it, where you can, or if you don't have a counter on it, rather, like you pod away a Geralf's Messenger, get this, Undying comes in first, and then you make him lose 2, and then this ability activates, and you sacrifice your Geralf's Messenger, you draw 4 cards, and you gain 4 life. That's insane. Skinrender's, it's surprisingly good. If it wasn't a zombie, it wouldn't be in the deck, though, but considering it is a zombie, it is awesome. And then we got the big guy, Massacre Wurm. He's excellent against, like, all the pod lists. If you can, like, game 1 pod up to it against Delver, you're probably just going to decimate them. He's kind of iffy in the mirror, but it's possible that you just want to keep him in because you are boarding in more Thragtusks. So that's the main creatures. Nothing too out of the ordinary, really. I mean, Disciple of Bolas it's an iffy slot. You board out a lot of the time, just like the Blood Artists. But you're usually boarding in like Thragtusk or like another Skinrender or something like that. So it makes up for it a lot. So next we will move on to the sideboard. Alright, so here we have a couple of specific pod targets. If you're playing against like a deck that goes really big, like a Titan deck or something, you can play a Zealous Conscripts, board that in. Probably taking out Massacre Wurm for the Zealous Conscripts, most likely. Against Delver, sometimes, depending like how many, if you see like a lot of equipment from them in the first game, you probably want to bring in Manic Vandal. Also pretty like alright against Delver's Tree of Redemption. You do have to be really wary of their Vapor Snags and stuff with it, but it's also good against the like the other like aggro pod lists and stuff, because there's no way for them to deal like 13 damage to it. Another thing is, you don't want to bring it in against the mirror, which I feel like most people would fall into that trap, because against the mirror, they can just tragic slip it, and it's not very good for you. Got another Skinrender because it's pretty decent against like Delver and stuff. They can make their angels basically non-existent, which is the main thing for it, or you can kill a flip Delver. It's also pretty excellent against the other pod lists where most of their stuff isn't very big, so that you can actually just kill it with a Skinrender. Along the same line is another Bonfire the Damned, which you want against those decks as well. And the third Thragtusk. It might be correct to have a fourth one on the side too, actually, because against Delver, if you can last long enough where you can just drop a Cavern on Beast and you can just keep dropping Thragtusk, you can probably just win the game that way. So up here I have a Garruk Relentless. I had this in an older Jund Zombies deck before Birthing Pod was normal. It was a couple months ago. It was before Avacyn Restore came out, and I played 2 of them in the main, and he was excellent. He's pretty awesome. Allows you to clear a blocker early game and get in a lot more damage. And then, like, the main thing that you want to do with him is actually his flip side, which his -1 allows you to sacrifice a creature, and that's excellent with like Geralf's Messengers and Gravecrawler, so you're not really even losing value, and you get to tutor up a creature into your hand. So, like, if you're playing, I don't know, it gets you whatever you need, really. Like, it's another birthing pod. that that can also fog for you if you need it to. 2 Liliana the Veils, they're pretty good against Delver. Pretty good against that one. They're also good against, like, if you're playing against Solar Flare or something silly like that. They're also really excellent against Infect. Vile Rebirths I have mostly just for the mirror match, because a lot of people play zombies, and I want to have a way to just, like, ambush them when they sacrifice a Geralf's Messenger to something. I just, like, Vile Rebirth, they get a 2-2. Phyrexian Obliterator, if there's anything like any sort of like burn style deck at all, you just bring it in and they don't want to do anything. Like, he's pretty good against bonfires too, I hear. 2 surgical extractions. These are not for the mirror at all. You don't want them in the mirror. They don't really do anything in the mirror. Like, surgical extractions, it's a skill testing card, really. I have it in here mostly for the, like, Venser style matchups, Stonehorde Dignitary locks and stuff, because it is possible to fight through them, but it can be really difficult. But if you kill their first Stonehorde Dignitary and then you get extracted, their deck literally just falls apart and doesn't really do anything ever. So it makes that matchup just so much easier. You don't really have to fight anything. You don't have to board in, like, it just makes it a lot easier. Same thing with Liliana. You want them against that deck too, because they usually don't have that many creatures out. So you just make them sacrifice a Stonehorde Dignitary. It just slows them down enough that you can just raise them. And there are like usually like 2 or 3 people that actually play that at my FNM pretty regularly, which is a bit unusual. But it's FNM. There's always weird stuff there. So yeah. And here, like, the Obliterator is kind of like the iffiest slot, really. But other than that, I do enjoy this deck a lot. I will be playing it this week if I am able to go. But I would highly suggest this, especially if you like attacking things and you like attacking and thinking at the same time. It's pretty good. There is quite an argument to put Phyrexian Metamorph in the main deck as well for another sacrifice Pada, Geralf's Messenger, get another Geralf's Messenger and stuff like that. It's a pretty good combo. But other than that, that's the deck, and I will see you guys next week with another FNM deck tech, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.